I'm understanding that he has a lot of the institutional weight of the Democratic Party against him, and certainly all the Republican Party. He has
he's getting personal phone calls from Obama. I mean, he's, you know, I understand he's divisive, but that's a pretty powerful show of support right there, right?
Oh, Obama called him. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I didn't say that.
Wait. What do you mean?
Obama called Mamdani? I mean, that's pretty big, right? Obama is like Black Jesus.
I don't care. You don't
care,
right? No, I don't care. Like, I actually,
this is a Democratic socialist.
Putting his weight behind him. That'd be one thing, right? To be put his weight behind him, but he's not actually doing that. You're saying
you can see in the chat, Obama is a war criminal. What?
He had a conversation. Great. What am I supposed to do, right? Am I supposed to go?
It was a private conversation where Obama relayed that he found Mamdani's campaign to be inspiring. It's not an explicit public endorsement, but you know, that's not nothing. I feel like someone in your position should not be so like allergic to that kind of power. This is a guy that's a democratic socialist poised to become the mayor of the most populous city in the country. And so, and he's getting support from these like unlikely figures.
Obama, right? Who has spent his time, right, outside of office, doing Netflix documentaries, right, like pretending to be above it all as the country burned around him, right? He's finally decided to step out and talk to someone. And,
I feel like
what am I expected to do with this?
I feel like people with your attitude lend credence to the idea that the establishment should pivot to the center instead of trying to work with you guys. Because
okay, that's nice. Whatever. Yes, I don't give a fuck.
Well, you're not exactly incentivizing like a friendly coalition, are you?
I don't care.
Well, what's your goal?
My goal is to increase human flourishing, right? And I think to do that would require
okay, I guess
it would require power, right?
It certainly does require power, but that certainly doesn't require groveling. That certainly doesn't require suddenly getting amnesia. It doesn't require getting amnesia about like the past 20 years, right? Misremembering the Obama years.
I mean, if you say a call from Obama is a waste of time, I mean, I'll take that call. What the you don't want a call from Obama? I'll take the call from Obama. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Look, no one's asking you to be like, oh, thank you, God King Obama, for taking 10 minutes out of your day. It's more of just like acknowledging, like, oh, this is good for Mamdani. He's getting former presidential recognition. This will catapult him into a higher tier. It's not like the difference between winning or losing, and an endorsement would obviously be more desired. And no one's asking you to say thank you to Obama. It's just this is a good thing.
I agree. Well, then okay, fine. Then I can give you this. If that's all you're asking, right? Well, here's what I'll do, right? I think Soy said previously, or maybe it was Pisco. Whether this is on the scale of bad, neutral, or positive, right? It's slightly past neutral into positive. Hooray. I thank you for more crumbs, President Obama.
I just, I want a Democratic Party that is strong enough to take on the Republican Party right now. And I would love nothing more than to have this party be like a big tent that would allow for people like you, Prime, and also people like IRI. But the way that you speak, it doesn't seem like you're interested in the same thing. You want a more homogenous kind of... Are you trying to take over the Democratic Party, or like what?
Well, I'm certainly trying to take over the Democratic Party. I want more of the power to be in the leftist hands rather than corporate Democrats' hands. However, it doesn't mean that like I would throw IRI out, right? No, IRI gets to stay, right?
Thank you.
And like I don't demand that everyone agrees with me. I love that people disagree with me. Like that's fantastic. I love these conversations. I love arguing with my friend Pisco here. It's so enjoyable. But I think that adds to the party, right? I think, and I mean this.
That's sarcastic. That has to be sarcastic.
I am grateful to my right-wing friends, right, and my liberal friends, right, for arguing against me.
Prime gives me the creeps. Hello, racist.
Themselves, and they just come up with ideas that are never tested.
Love you.
Right? Sincerely want ideological diversity. However, when we're talking about power, when you're talking about like who has power in the Democratic Party, no, I want the power. And I can understand that, again, we need people of all types for different areas of the country, right? I can understand that my ideas don't necessarily resonate everywhere. And so we should be putting people in front of them, in front of those audiences who have a better chance, right? But that also doesn't mean that we necessarily have to accept everything, that we should have some level of standards. And I think my standards might be different from your standards, but we can argue about that later.
No, it's not about standards. It's about like the tone.
The standards is reject Obamacare, accept socialism.
I feel like the tone is kind of like it's wildly out of step with the reality. Like the reality is you got this guy, and it's true. He is an exciting candidate, and I've been a great admirer of his campaign and the way that he's just evolved. And I look at him and I get excited. But this is a guy with like 55% of the New York City voter base are going to probably choose him in the upcoming election, and it feels like you're doing the.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure how much of what Hutch is talking about here is actually his real thoughts. Okay, so it could be the case that Hutch looks at Mamdani and he gets really excited. However, his video editor, like if you take a look at Hutch's channel, so I'm not sure if Hutch practices what he's preaching here. So he says that he's excited whenever he looks at Mamdani. Polling expert, Mamdani is unpopular nationwide. Right? Hassan suffers a generational crash out as Mamdani disavows. This isn't explicitly, oh, Mamdani is great. Democrats, please stop doing this. This is weak. Polling expert, Mamdani is unpopular nationwide. There's nothing here that would indicate like excitement for Mamdani. I don't know, dude. It's just like these people are just. I hate everyone in this space, dude. This space fucking sucks. Actually, L space, okay? L space, loser space. No one is honest. No one actually wants to stand on anything. Great stuff.
Thing that I see a lot of lefties doing, which is you're treating Mamdani as though he's this.
Foodshops, why don't you always appeal to the moderates? Or why don't you appeal to the lefties? Why don't you appeal to the moderates or the lefties? Oh my god, because they both suck. And it's very clear to me they both suck.
Like herald of a political revolution. And the reality is, it's like he's, got kind of like middling popularity for a New York City mayor. And someone like Hochul is in a much stronger position than he is, quite frankly.
Well, wait, Prime, before you respond, Hutch, I got to turn the question around that I already asked Prime, which is, if Mamdani gets into office and everything goes really fucking well, every single policy is just like, wow, like all.
Or just let Hutch finish talking? No, I hate it when Hutch talks.
The things the progressives have been calling for, then would you kind of start to shift over of, oh, maybe we should move more towards like a populist progressive for not every Democrat, obviously, but more of the already on the left wing should push a little harder Democrats.
It's a case by case, just like what Prime said. I don't know if he applied it in the same way, but it's a case by case. So if there's a progressive that's thriving and, another like D+30 city or whatever, or D+30 district, then yeah, sure, of course. Like I'm not picky. That's the point. I'm not ideologically picky right now. I don't think that really matters right now, to be honest with you. Policy discussions and ideology take a backseat for me right now in the era of MAGA to just beating Republicans. You laugh, but look at Trump 2.0, bro.
Well, I know the threat of Trump, right? And so we should have no standards, I guess, right? Policy doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter what we're not what I said.
The lefties don't need bashing as like the main course of action. Lefties just need to not be a part of any kind of political messaging or movement. And that's it. That's all you need. You don't need a fancy schmancy, aggressive campaign against lefties in order to appeal to moderates. If you really want to appeal to moderates, like if that is a part of your mission, you don't need to have like a huge fucking thing. Your main course of attack, and lest you forget, should always be against Trump and the fascists that are running the country right now. You should ignore the lefties, cast them out and ignore them. But doing anything more against the lefties, do you know what that looks like? It looks like infighting. It looks like division. It looks like weakness to the Republicans.
Okay, so I don't want to be bad faith. I'm not trying to be bad faith. I'm trying to engage with you. Yeah, okay, right? So maybe I misunderstood you. But what you just told me was that policy doesn't matter in this age, right? It's just about beating Trump, right? And what that sounds like to me,
that doesn't matter. I said
you can correct me in just a second, right? But what it sounds like to me is that saying, well, as long as they have a D in front of their name, right? Well, that's good enough. Let's replace them as many R's with D's, and it makes no difference of what they bring to the table.
Because you have to be careful, okay? I don't disagree with casting the lefties out, but if you cast them out too hard, okay? If you virtue signal to the right a bit too hard, then what you risk is losing more elections. And the reason why you risk losing more elections is because, well, not losing more elections, but specifically you are furthering the double standards poisoning in this country, right? If that makes sense. Because at some point, if that infighting becomes too public, then it allows Republicans to see that their rhetoric about how the Democrats are communists and leftists actually work against you, and they're able to be enabled to keep doing that rhetoric in the future while escalating stuff on their own. So you shouldn't be doing it too hard to the extent that they are able to perceive it as a weakness that they can act upon. Obviously, right? However, do I disagree with people who say that we need to cast out the lefties? Hell no. These people are cancer. They're horrible people. But some people are like, no, we have to do the most hardcore of the most hardcore disavowal, we have to do the most hardcore disavowals of all time. We have to make an aggressive campaign against the lefties.
It's up to the individual voters of each state and district that choose their primary winner. That's the point. So if the voters in a conservative district choose a more moderate candidate, great, I'm on board. And if they stand a better chance to beat a Republican in that district, awesome, great. And the same thing goes for progressives. Like that's where I'm at with things. I'm talking about like an actual coalition instead of what you're talking about, which is just this kind of delusional fantasy that there's going to be this leftist takeover of the party. So, and it's not really like based on anything right now.
So you've been putting words in my mouth like this entire time, right? I haven't said anything about that some sort of leftist revolution was about to happen, right? I just said, hey, like we got one person in and I'm nervous about it because when you're actually given a chance to govern, then you can be held accountable for it. That's all I've said so far. I didn't say anything else, right? And so this is why I'm trying to understand you, right? And what you actually mean. So like it doesn't, if we have a coalition, an example, talking about like the Senate, just to narrow it down a bit. We have like a 51-49 advantage in the Senate. But like we have another mansion, another cinema, and maybe others as well who like
absolute
sabotage the Democrats, right? In the most crucial of moments, to the point that these things reverberate into the future because like we didn't get crucial legislation through, and weren't actually able to.
Is a great game. I just need to like stop playing in between like some runs, just mainly because I don't want to draw myself too much into the game.
I promise
it does get boring after like 1 or 2 runs, but it is fun.
While being in power, right? You'd say that's fine, right? Because at least we have a D. It's a Democratic Senate rather than a Republican Senate.
You understand that Biden was legislatively like the most accomplished president, basically of the modern era, right? And he did that specifically because Manchin was serving in West Virginia. I mean, I think like the question would be like, do you envision a progressive challenger coming in and actually making the kind of like winning the kind of election that Manchin did? Could you replace him with a progressive? Is my point. Or my question.
I've literally already acknowledged previously that you couldn't. We should have people in place who can speak to those audiences as best we can. However, I say we have to have standards. No, I wouldn't say Manchin was a good idea because Manchin actively sabotaged the Democrats. Well,
he voted for Biden's agenda and his judges the overwhelming majority of the time. But like you understand that without a majority, you can't get any judges or legislation.
Oh, yes, I understand that. Don't worry. You don't have to condescend to me. I get it. Yeah.
Well, the way you talk makes me question that because you're saying it was a bad thing that he was serving there, right?
Let me just interrupt. A quick pause. Simmer it down. Hutch, I do feel that a lot of the things being levied at Prime right now are 90% dumber progressives that I've seen on Twitter. I haven't heard Prime say these things yet. So
no, hang on. He just said that it was a bad thing that Manchin was serving in West Virginia.
I think what he's saying is that people like Manchin can sabotage an otherwise better agenda, which is true, and why Trump was someone who thanked Manchin for a lot of what he did, even though Manchin was instrumental in getting a lot of Biden's stuff passed as well. We would prefer to have someone better. If he's the best we can get, sure, that's great. We don't want a Republican there.
But you're glossing over that. Like, if he's the best we can get, then we should welcome that, right?
Welcome it, sure, but not be like.
He disagrees. Prime disagrees. That's my point. He doesn't want to welcome that, right?
Dead run.
So, I don't know. Okay, it depends on what you mean by welcome. And I'm not trying to dodge the question. I promise you. I'm just trying to work out what we're saying here. I wouldn't take away his Senate seat, right? Like, hey, like you've come in, like people voted you in, right? I wouldn't say like, okay, now because he doesn't agree with me ideologically, the Senate should like somehow toss him out, right? I'm not saying anything like that. But like what the conversation started was that you specifically said in terms of your view of like
coalitions,
like the coalition in the larger battle, right? That it doesn't matter at all who comes in, right? So like I'll turn it back on you, right? Like if instead we had a whole list of Democrats who won, who were like pro-segregationists, you'd say like, well, I welcome them within the party, right? They have a D in front of their name, not an R, and so thank you. Like, please let's fill up with pro-segregationists. You're welcome here.
I mean, we'd be going back to the Democratic Party of 5 or 6 decades ago, right?
Sorry, that didn't answer my question. Would you welcome?
Well, the answer is probably yes. Yeah, in that context, wouldn't you rather have the New Deal and Great Society stuff than not? Brian?
Sorry, stop trying to dodge the question.
Wait, isn't the answer
yes?
No, it's not. We're not time traveling because now he's like, oh, now we're going back in time. No, we're not doing that. I'm saying, hey, like for 2025.
Oh, is that what they call hindsight Andy? Is time traveling? I guess that kind of works too. Hindsight Andy automatically assigns the bad implications of it, right?
Right, or into 2026, we have brand new pro-segregationists coming into the Democratic Party. Would you welcome them because they have a D in front of their name instead of R? He says no. Pisco says no. Hutch, what about you?
Maybe. Yeah.
There you go. Right. Yeah. So that's a difference of opinion here, right? Like I'm against segregationists, no matter what decade it is.
Well, do you? I mean, I don't want to get hung up too much. We can move on to the next topic. But like, do you think that Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes.
Okay.
And Hutch, right? Because Hutch, the reason you would say yes.
But go ahead.
Okay, but tell me if I'm wrong, Hutch. The reason you would ever say yes to a pro-segregationist Democrat is because what's on the other side is now the right has moved so far, even past segregation of, yeah, we're doing segregation and a lot more worse stuff, right? Not right now. Everything the same, but you would welcome a segregationist Democrat?
Say that question again.
Right now, every policy on the right remains the same. You know, I do think this is like we're fascist, treading into fascism, but they haven't, said they're going to bring back segregation yet. They're teasing the idea of miscegenation, revisiting that.
But we're talking about fascism, right? Like when we talk about fascism, we should get into the specifics, right? What does that actually look like?
Right, but if the Democrats are pro-segregationists, that's worse than the current right-wing party.
You're saying that if we had, like, for example, like thankfully there are no emerging segregationist Democrats. I'm happy to entertain your hypothetical, but even if we were to do this hypothetical, like you're saying that, like, let's say like one or two like segregationist Democrats emerge and all of a sudden they were competitive in like fucking Nebraska or Missouri. You're saying that us adding that to like get a Senate majority would be worse than the MAGA movement right now? In terms of like,
I think it would be. I think it would make the. So if I believed empirically it would help stop Trump, I would encourage you to vote for them. But we just have a different thought process on the empirics. So the empirics are that I think, and I think Soy is convinced that allowing segregationists into the Democratic Party would like hurt mid to long term results in the brand of the Democrats, such that it would worsen our chances.
I mean, do you guys understand that like black civil rights leaders, when they were deciding who they wanted to endorse when FDR was running, they endorsed him even though he opposed.
Oh, this is definitely Pisco's chat, right? To be very clear, look at this. This is a super chat from Doobie. A super chat from Doobie, and this is talking about Hutch in the third person. This is like definitely Pisco's chat. So we're looking at Pisco's chat right now. Pisco is the one that runs the OBS on the stream key, I guess, on Lib&Learn, I'm assuming. And that's why, that's where this is coming from. And I'm assuming that this is being restreamed to Hutch's channel as well, right? Like, for example, if you have this on the screen, but then you show the chat replay here, I bet that everything here is all Hutch fans, and all the things here are Pisco's fans, and they have the opposite opinions, right?
It's an anti-lynching legislation. And even though a third of the Democratic caucus were segregationists.
See, interesting. See this? Ah, fuck, Prime Kai. Oh, hey, familiar sites. Hutch, right? This is Hutch. So this is Hutch right here.
And Dixiecrats. Because their concern was fascism was rising. And yet we have a conversation these days about like Donald Trump is a fascist threat. And yet like you
I understand, Hutch, but this might be a good segue into another thing we're going to talk about, which Prime and I talked about last week, which is the amount of, I think you and I agree, displeasure and shade thrown at Plattner for a Nazi tattoo. If he was a pro-segregationist and was polling better than Susan Collins, would you not have the same shade?
Oh, Hutch, oh no.
No. If Plattner advances past this primary, I will tell my viewers to vote for him in Maine.
Yeah.
This is a primary. This is a discussion during a primary. That's
and that's fine. You can bash anyone for a primary. I've said this also as well. Like, I have no problem if you bash Plattner and you think that it's a very if you're Plattner's opposition and you discover the Nazi tattoo shit. Obviously, I'm not going to blame you if you weaponize that against Plattner. I have nothing against that. That is your that's your choice, and that's within your right to do so as the opposition. I guess the problem for me is when you go beyond the primary and you go beyond pragmatism and you say that this guy is actually a secret Nazi who is going to secretly implement Nazi policies if he ever gets a hold like in power for like 4 years. Like, that's so silly to me. Like, who cares? I guess the idea is in the primary, I doubt that the pro-segregationist is going to win over any of these other candidates. So the hypothetical silly, because we wouldn't get that.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, I'm sorry, but no, this is important to we're testing, right? His morals, his axioms, right? We're testing that. He's saying that, like, yes, pro-segregationists are welcome, however he defines that, right? Welcome in the party just because they have a D in front of their name instead of an R in front of their name, right? Like that's like the essence. Like it literally doesn't matter what it is, right? And then he tries to bring in. That's exactly what he said. And then he does this copium, right? Like trying to defend himself, like the nonsense that he just said in front of everyone here, right? Talking about, yeah, I mean, I guess your segregationists would be fine, right? And he has to like bring up like black civil rights, right? Like people operating in a different decade, right? Under like a literal state violence at the time, right? Like looking at a candidate who they could work with to overcome that segregation, right? Using the best political vehicle that they had at the time to
they made compromises.
You're saying
they made compromises.
And you're saying that within this decade, though, right? Like as it now,
you brought up segregationists.
Yes, I obviously did.
To make to do an extreme hypothetical.
Yeah, whatever. Hutch,
yeah,
whatever.
But you agreed to the extreme hypothetical.
Yeah, you agreed to the hypothetical. We were talking about the hypothetical, and
that's
so Soypill did a good job of drawing the.
Well, hey, you guys get to see both chats now, see? So even though I'm full screen, you guys can see both chats. Isn't that cool, guys?
Out saying, hey,
wow.
like
I'm very open about like how I work.
Exactly the way it was now.
You didn't like make something out of me. I talk about this all the time.
We just had segregationists within our party. You'd say that's fine, right? Even today. Even if you don't have to make those
let me just ask you, like, if it meant taking away the Senate majority from Republicans, would you be okay with it or no?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be okay with segregation.
Brian, this is just the Kamala conversation over again.
I know.
Wait, by segregationists, do they mean like someone who is like a black civil rights era redlining slavery segregationist?
Right? Yeah.
So this is Hutch's point. So I don't think Hutch is saying we should actively encourage Democrats to be segregationists or we welcome the open arms.
No,
I think he's just repackaging in response to your question
a version of. He didn't say that. I know he didn't say that.
I think he's repackaging.
Honest.
Oh, or does he mean like segregationists as in like discarding the lefties, right? Segregationists as in like you want to aggressively kick out the lefties, right?
A version of the trolley problem where he's saying like I find fascism to be less desirable than Jim Crow segregation. Do you agree with that, Brian?
Okay, never mind. They're literally talking about segregation. Okay, I forget about that.
Do you agree with that,
Cool.
I don't know how that's even different. That's another. It was just another form of fascism within the American society, right? We don't call it fascism, right? When we're thinking about this, but like massive state violence against that minority. Yeah, that's part of the fascist.
But I think the way you framed it,
that's what it is. But it's like, hey, as long as there are fascists, right? According to Hutch, as long as there are fascists, then yeah, welcome them in. As long as we have a D in front of it. So let me change it slightly, right? Let me do it again. Hey, if they are avowed fascists, but they have a D in front of their name, would you welcome them, Hutch?
If it gave us the majority, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You see, this is why I'm testing
you. But here is the difference. The difference is by welcoming like one or two people that have extreme positions. The way you framed it, Pisco, was not correct. You were saying like it's either like fascism versus like.
Would you take in? So the question is, would you take in a Democratic segregationist if it means having a D next to their name and they get to vote? They get to vote Democrat in all the bills and in all the fucking thing. Yeah, of course. I think I would too. Right? Who wouldn't? Like, who wouldn't take even if the Democrat is a Nazi, okay? Even if the Democrat is a Nazi, if they're voting on Democratic policies, I don't give a fuck about what their personal beliefs are. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying fuck about what their personal beliefs are, okay? You vote on the bills. If you vote on the bills, if you vote within party lines, you vote on the ACA, you are pro-ACA, you're pro, voting party lines. You disagree with the ACA, but you're pro-ACA. You disagree with UBI, but you're but you vote for UBI. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about that. Yeah, it's true. It's also a dumb hypothetical, too. Literally, who cares?
But, Jim Crow. The difference is there would be no risk of like Jim Crow laws being enacted in the Congress at that time. And if we allowed like someone who's like avowed fascist, like one person, there would be no risk of like fascist like codified law as a result of this.
There's an additional thing that what you're saying is assuming it would have a good result, right? Which I think is the core thing. Assuming that welcoming these people would produce a less risk or okay. But that's where I think Soypill and I diverge from you in the current, where the context is different, I think, back in the 40s and 60s versus now, where that kind of empirical case about whether it makes sense in the medium and long term to make these kinds of coalitions where it starts to break apart. But I think there's an on point like example of this currently in Virginia, Jay Jones. Everyone here, I think, finds the comments made by Jay Jones about like killing, or I don't know what he said, like the death of
kids, killing kids. Yeah.
We all find that reprehensible. I want commitments from everybody. You guys all endorse Jay Jones for Attorney General of Virginia, don't you?
Yep.
I'm a little on the fence about it, honestly.
On the fence. And why is that?
It's the same thing actually with the Graham Plattner stuff, where I'm like, okay, if this is the stuff you're saying in private, like I don't know how I feel about you being in charge of a lot, let alone anything.
Oh my god, cringe take, I'll take. Cringe take, I'll take. Bro, I will suck Graham Plattner's dick if we are up against a Republican, okay? If we are up against a Republican and I know that Graham Plattner would win against that Republican, I would, oh my god, I would slobber over that far right, okay?
Now, granted, there's not really a better choice right now. But in the same way, you know, Obama might give Mamdani a phone call. I can say, look, I'm not going to be upset if he wins, but damn if I don't want to put my weight behind him.
So what objection do you have against like Prime? Prime's like, okay, if this is how Kamala deals with the genocide in Israel, hang on. So the private comments of Jay Jones is enough to be like, I might not vote for him for Attorney General of Virginia. So horrible like that.
Sure, and I guess the difference would be the scale of the consequences of him losing. Now, if you were to give me a good case over to why Jay Jones losing would be detrimental on a massive scale in Virginia, I'd say, yeah, whatever. I guess we can ignore this. But again, this is just like welcoming a segregationist into your party. While I can completely understand Hutch's like, yeah, obviously, if accepting two people who are not going to pass major legislation to stop the fascist party is like the alternative, like that makes sense. But what are the downstream effects of welcoming this into your coalition, and like how does that make you look? Does it reduce turnout?
You don't think having a Republican as the Attorney General is bad?
No, I obviously
in the state of Virginia, like that's not. I don't. The guy apologized for his comments, some text messages between him and a colleague a couple years ago, and you're.
Why can't people just listen to IRI? Okay, this guy's literally a celebrity. Wouldn't you literally like if Drake? Okay, I'm not saying IRI is Drake. He's far from it. But like, I'm just saying if Drake was on the same panel with you and Drake made a suggestion, would you not like think twice about not Drake? Sorry. Okay, let's just say you hate Drake. Okay, you're into Kendrick Lamar. Okay, all right. Let's just say Kendrick Lamar was on the panel and be like, I don't know, man. I think that Plattner spits some facts, and you know that tattoo shit, man. In the street life, you get all sorts of tattoos, man. You know, ain't no big deal, right? Like, yeah, I mean, listen, just listen to IRI, okay? This guy's a celebrity.
I don't know what the risk getting a Republican Attorney General in one of the most pivotal states in the union, really?
It's not about like I'm risking it. I guess you'd have to kind of lay out for me again. This is not something I'm super.
But why not get 100% behind him though? He's the Democrat. Like the Republican is 1,000 times worse. Like I'm like 80 pussyfoot around it at all.
Because it's like, what am I willing to say? Yes, I will endorse this no matter what. And if you're
acting like this is dog catcher in the local community, this is Attorney General of the state of Virginia. It's a huge deal.
Sure. So lay out for me, like what would happen with a Republican Attorney General if Jay Jones were to lose?
Well, you wouldn't see lawsuits on behalf of the state trying to fight for funding from the Trump administration, for example. They're
doing the government.
Yeah, like they
going after criminals in Virginia and the Commonwealth, where like sometimes we can't count on the federal government to go after criminals, and so we have to rely on like state analog statutes to the extent there's overlapping spheres of jurisdiction.
Like some of these, like Alvin Bragg. Yeah, like Alvin Bragg did.
I guess we're in a weird moment where the ability for the Republicans to paint Democrats as literal demons to their entire party is kind of unprecedented. And so I'm stuck between 10 years ago politics where I look at this and say, I don't know how I feel about endorsing this person. And then at the same time, I guess it doesn't really matter because the worst thing that could possibly, have downstream effects on us because of some bad comments or behavior doesn't matter because they already think that. So if I was on the fence, I lean more towards, obviously I'd throw with support, but 100% is a little harder for me. Hutch said 80. Can I say 75?
Now you sound like
75 and 80% is good enough for me, okay? The way that Soy Pill was talking about it was almost as if like he was not on board with Plattner whatsoever in any way. I think that was the implication of the way that he was talking about it. If you're talking about like 75 to 80%, bro, I support Mamdani 75 to 80% against like... Yeah, fuck me, dude. Like 75, yeah, fuck.
Fucking Hakeem Jeffries or Obama was your phone call.
Let's flip the incentive here, okay? Like, would you guys vote for a segregationist in your states if it meant getting single payer healthcare?
Oh
my God! I'm not engaging with your segregationist.
What? Wait, hold on.
If I knew it would have
it's kind of sus that your inner slave owner, okay, your inner slave master. All right, your inner slave master is coming out slowly, okay? All right. Let's just say, okay, let's just hypothetically say, okay, I were to run for office and I was a segregationist and I wanted to bring back slavery. Would you support I don't know, having the bill, being pro, I don't know, voting in line with the rest of the Democratic Party? But let's just say your personal beliefs is that you view black people as lesser people, and I want to bring slavery back as my personal beliefs. Careful, Hutch. Okay.
Ridiculous. It's like
no, I'll answer.
I endorse a serial murderer if they were the Democratic nominee. You know?
Let's do that. Literally.
I think I would. If Jeffrey Dahmer were to run as a Democrat and vote in line, I'm voting for Jeffrey Dahmer over a Republican any day. I don't care that he's a murderer, okay? Because I know that if a Republican is in office, there's going to be millions of deaths, okay? There's going to be millions of deaths. I am taking Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm taking Jeffrey Dahmer every day, okay? Every day I am taking Jeffrey Dahmer, okay? Jeffrey Dahmer is my BFF, okay? I'm taking Jeffrey Dahmer every day.
A convicted murderer. Would you vote for a convicted murderer who was pardoned by Donald Trump if it meant single-payer healthcare? If you knew for sure that you get single-payer healthcare,
my brother.
And there were no other like mid to long-term negative effects that I could calculate.
Some kind of single-payer.
Just one Senate vote. It's just one crucial Senate vote. Okay, right? One crucial Senate vote. So the guy can't like unilaterally go and fucking do a bunch of shit. But you knew you get single-payer.
He supports serial murder. Like he's not sorry about it or whatever. Like he's actually.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Bring up Jeffrey Dahmer now.
Advocating for serial murder.
I can't believe you guys even have to think about this, man. It's
Okay. The person is a private advocate for Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't fucking know. Like, how do you want to twist this?
I'm trying to understand.
I want Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, here, Hutch, I think that
because the segregationist would be promoting segregation.
Let's get away from segregation. Let's just get away from segregation.
Like playing ball with like the entire identity of someone. Like, hey, every single minority in this country, we might throw you under the bus potentially, or we might get on the board to the road to doing that. We're not doing it today. We're not doing it a year from now. But just so you know, we're gonna welcome these people in just for this one thing. It's a silly hypothetical because I don't think like there ever is going to be this dichotomy. And the same
you're fighting it. Wait, just to say you're fighting the empirical case that he's laying out in the hypothetical. You're fighting hypothetical. We both, our response is we think that accepting these people into the fold would have negative downstream effects that aren't so that we would say no.
Without those, I would say yes. Without those downstream effects, I do think those exist. And it reminds me of those stupid AI prompts. Like, oh, I asked it if a nuke was going to explode, but if I screamed the N-word, it would stop. It wouldn't do it. And it's like, but this is never going to happen. All right, this is very silly. And to get upset at people for not.
No, but that's the point of a hypothetical. Like, I thought the point of a hypothetical was to test your boundaries, right? Like, this thing is never going to happen IRL, right? Like, this thing is never going to happen, but, just in case it does happen, how much would you stretch your principles to fit a certain scenario? Would you be so willing as to do something so absurd that you can't even begin to imagine how crazy that is? Or would you just simply be, I don't know, not be, you get what I mean? You smelling what I'm cooking?
Screaming slurs is kind of ridiculous in the hypothetical itself because it's not really what's going on.
But I'm curious how Prime. I'm curious how Prime would answer given what he asked Hutch.
I want to change it though. Like, would you vote for a segregation if you knew that it would lead to a socialist revolution? He's thinking about it.
One only for white people? Like, I don't like.
No, for everybody.
Would you vote for a segregationist if it would lead to a socialist revolution? I feel like that's a really easy answer, right? I'm just saying, segregation is not even necessarily a con in the eyes of a lot of lefties, okay? Listen, lefties and being racist are not mutually exclusive, okay? Have you seen Joseph Stalin? Okay, that motherfucker hated Jews, okay? All right? The USSR hated Jewish people, okay? Yeah. We're still debating whether or not the Holodomor was a genocide. We're like, Russia glorifies the USSR and they fucking hate Ukrainians. Motherfucker, racism is a core component of socialism at this rate. Okay?
Ideal socialist revolution.
No, hold on. I'm saying that there is a minimum of
racism also determines whether or not a region in the socialist countries gets preferential treatment. Bro, Joseph Stalin hates Ukrainians enough. Okay, so Ukrainians become the fucking farmer class, and the Holodomor happens, right? Yeah, racism is a core component. Okay, preferential treatment. That's what I'm saying.
That I have that for candidates that they have to clear if they're a fascist, and like Jim Crow was American fascism, then no, I'm not going to vote for them. Okay, I'm not going to vote for them.
Wait, hold on,
and like,
cringe. Don't you know that racism is literally not a thing? Prime, don't you know that if you fix class issues, racism automatically goes away? Isn't that what class reductionists always preach? Like, they always say some stupid fucking shit like, well, if we can just equalize all the classes, if only everyone just has the same amount of wealth and the same amount of pay and the same amount of everything, if everyone is so equalized, racism, sexism, and prejudice just naturally all magically goes away. Great stuff.
Wait, can I just add like a couple more things to it? Like, what if you had advanced knowledge that your socialist friends would murder this man as soon as you did the socialist revolution? And then everybody gets socialism for minimum 200 years.
That's the bonus, is the murder. That's a sweetener for Prime.
All right, I think this will be the last hypothetical.
Come on, I just want to know the answer to that question.
No, no. Like what you're trying to do, right, is like you're saying, hey, like, sorry, the hypothetical that I created, right, I think is firmly within the bounds of like logic, right? Like, now we have to bring in like exotic technologies, right, so that we can know into the future what's going to happen, right?
You brought up the segregation.
No, hold on, wait a second. No, hold on. I'll defend it. It's
the material
right? Because we have people.
Oh yeah, guys, you guys know what would be super cool and would make you, in my eyes at the very least, someone who is epic and cool and based and chill, is if you would donate. All right, if you're someone who donates, who'd be so kind as to lend a coin to your streamer, okay? Oh my god, bro, you would be on the top of my list, okay? On God, to be spared when I become the main Joseph Stalin, okay, of the Vanguard Party, okay? On God, all right? On God, okay? Consider it. Consider donating, consider liking, all right? You know, that's all I'll say, okay? I paid my editor recently, okay? I was like, yeah, you know what? This isn't a part of the pay. This isn't a part of the ad cut, okay? But I'm going to give it to you anyway because you've been doing such a good job. So, you know what? Give me money so then I can give my editors bonuses, okay? All right? See, that is a reason why you should give me money, okay? So then I can give my editors bonuses, okay?
Within our party who defend genocide. They defend genocide right now. That's the thing that's happened, right? They defend
I'll throw in Palestinian statehood. I'll throw in Palestinian statehood.
They defend racial hierarchies, right? When they happen in other places.
I'll throw in a one state.
I mean, they continuously, within the current Democratic Party, they continuously ignore, right, and downgrade and exploit the Democratic, the black base, right? They come to us hat in hand, asking for our votes, right? But then when racial violence happens to us, and we say, hey, let's get a policy solution, right? Like the George Floyd policy.
Justice and Policing Act.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, right? That doesn't get passed, right? Like when the black people who are a crucial a part of the Democratic coalition, when they ask for policy solutions, they don't get it, right? Even though
I'm not asking about all that. I'm asking about this. Like,
I know you want to ignore all that, but I'm saying that like you are trying to. There's a difference between the hypothetical. Even I can even work with hypothetical. Still no, right? The still answer is no, right? So I'll say that, right? But then I'll go back to criticizing this and say that like we're looking at a Democratic Party that has shifted on workers' rights, abandoned workers.
I don't need this. Like,
no, I don't care. I'm not talking.
You're preaching on soapbox here, bro.
I already gave. Then I will get on my soapbox. I'm going to actually make my statement. You're going to listen to it, right? So I don't give a fuck about that. So anyway, so we have a Democratic Party that has abandoned the working class, that has abandoned in the conversations the LGBT crowd, right? Because we don't want to be too woke. That continuously this party actually talking about like hey, being okay with segregation. I don't think that's so crazy. I think there's a point in time we can.
No, man, come on. Sure, you think it's so?
Well, I don't think it's so crazy. I think within
the modern Democratic Party would be advocating for segregation.
No. Not the party, but like there could be candidates who would actually do that, right? Like, well, hey,
viable candidates.
Hold on. If it's within a southern state, why not? Right?
Well, we have candidates with Nazi tattoos, so sure.
Yeah, like there's indeed we do, right?
I'm just curious.
Hold on, one second. So I'm saying that like within the Democratic Party now, right? We don't have standards.
Why don't you stream on Twitch? Because I cover Destiny all the time. I would get banned in like 5 seconds.
Have standards, right?
Prime is the kind of guy you read about in an article where he kept his parents' bodies wrapped up in the basement to collect their social security. What? Hello?
What Hutch wants.
You have something to admit here?
Standards. Within this party,
are you self-reporting?
You can be anti-abortion, right? You can be anti-LGBT. You can be anti just about everything. But you guys think that apparently being anti-black is a step too far.
How many congressional Democrats? How many congressional Democrats are pro-life in the entire Congress?
Hutch, what he's saying is what the argument that you're advocating for here is, and I kind of am sympathetic to this, is there is no limit to what a Democrat can believe that violates what we would otherwise consider a democratic principle if they help us beat fascism, which I am sympathetic to insofar as, yeah, we need fascism in the general, but like it's kind of crazy to assume or to posit this reality where we just have no, like the Democratic Party ranges from pro-life.
Yeah, why would I stream on Twitch when one day I could be banned from YouTube? And then I would need to turn to Twitch, right? If I get banned earlier from Twitch, right? If I get banned, think about this. If I get banned earlier from Twitch, then I won't have that second chance later on, right? When I have to be careful.
Life to pro-segregation, and that's the only way you can be.
But then it implies that there's a standard, right? So is there a standard or not? Because I'm told that there is no standard.
There should be. I mean, but I think it's with respect to different things, right? So I think there's a conflation because at the point of general, like I'm just going to go with Hutch. It's really about choosing the lesser of two evils, and so at that point, like it's already cooked, and you just got to do the action. I think
So
we're talking about something different.
Yeah, but we're of anti-black violence.
Well, hang on, because the thing is, I don't want to get your invitation to absurdity, which is put everything on the table, the destruction of the universe. I mean, Hutch was giving you one state solution in Palestine, freedom of the Palestinian people. He was throwing in their Medicare for all. So
you wouldn't be able to talk to Hutch and shit if you got banned on Twitch. That would be correct. That would also be correct.
Yeah,
no matter how good.
I
don't even want to engage. The thing is,
but I did engage with it.
I didn't even think about that.
Right?
Yeah, but I am unable to bite that bullet. I can't say that I would suffer the destruction of sentient life on this planet because to vote for like a segregation. That to me seems so absurd and ridiculous that I could never accept that, right?
Pisco, this is the difference I'm trying to draw with you, right? So I can just easily say yes to that, right? Because that's not a situation that I'm ever concerned about facing, right? Actually, a pro-segregationist candidate in the Democratic Party, right?
That is realistic.
In my lifetime, yeah, that's far more realistic. Okay. It's far more realistic.
I don't understand what that's based on.
If we can have an anti-choice candidate, right? Like, is that a possibility? We could have an anti-choice candidate?
Yeah, we have them.
Yes, we have an anti-LGBT rights candidate, right? We can have.
Depends what you mean by that, but
yeah, sure, depends, right? Can we have an anti-black candidate? Why wouldn't we have why would that be the one step that we couldn't cross? Why would that? Is that the standard, right? People just can't be anti-black.
Yeah, but most people like when you say something like your hypothetical is more or less realistic, I don't understand, like, why do you care that like a hypothetical is more or less realistic? We're talking about your principles, and the reason we're asking these questions presumably is to get an understanding of your principles. And so how realistic the hypothetical, I mean, we're trying to get at what's motivating you. And so you commenting on like, okay, I guess I would never have the opportunity to vote for a segregationist if the other side of the ballot was literally the destruction of all sentient life. I would, I guess, grant you that that's less realistic, but the whole point of the hypotheticals is to suss out like what's motivating you. And I think it's a good transition into Plattner.
Yes,
so suppose that Graham Plattner actually was like kind of, didn't like Jews that much. Would you vote for him? He said that I think the Jews that okay, he's notwithstanding the okay, at least you're consistent on that. I'll grant you that. I mean,
yeah, but as I said with Swaypill and I, we had that discussion last week on WYKES panel. I said that as of now, as of the recording, right? Other things can come out. Obviously, I have to change my opinion. But as of now, it seems like that tattoo is discordant, right? Like it doesn't match up to everything else we know about him, right? It seems believable that he didn't understand what that tattoo was, and so it like when
I would say it doesn't matter. I would say it doesn't matter, right? Does that make sense? Like, let's just say that he knew what the tattoo was right? Like he knew for a fact. And there's evidence to show that as well, right? By the way, okay, people have left his campaign because they said that he knew all along what the tattoo meant. Okay. Well, I mean, clearly he was careless enough to show it off at a party when he was drunk or something, right? The thing is that does he even hold any of these beliefs now? And second of all, even if he held these beliefs, does he even want to put it into policy? And even if he wants to put it into policy, is it even possible for him to implement it into policy within 4 to 6 years? And even if he was able to do it in 4 to 6 years, who's to say the next person wouldn't like re-implement back the old policies? There's just so many safeguards. There's just no way it would even be within my calculations. All right. Right now, the immediate threat is the Republicans, and that's all I care about. Okay.
He didn't think he was being watched, right? His honest thoughts were he's anti-fascist, anti-communist, and all those other things, right? Like he said all kinds of wild things. He didn't say like, as far as I know, again, I can be corrected, that I want to put the Jews in ovens or anything like that, right? And so because that it seems.
Well, Plattner is also attacking damn politicians because he's an anti-establishment lefty. Sure, yeah. If that's true, then fuck him. But at the same time, I'm just saying, if let's just say hypothetically, if Plattner was running against Trump, right?
Like it doesn't actually seem to be reflective of his inner personality. Well, then I can deal with it.
Is it believable to you that he had that tattoo for like, I think 20 years? I don't know when he got it. He's 41 now, I believe. I imagine he was in his 20s when he got it. Is it believable to you that he never made the connection? I understand you and I, we don't have that imagery.
You guys are probably thinking, what is this? Foodshops, are you defending another reprehensible person? Yes, I do this every day, okay? I defend reprehensible people all day, every day at this point. This is what I do. I do be doing that, okay?
In our life, but he has it on his chest, sees it every day, and he's more likely to notice it in a movie or TV or someone else pointed out to him.
Yeah.
Do you think it's likely that no one pointed out to him until just recently at 41 years old or whatever it is?
Sorry.
Do you believe that, Brian?
No. I'm going to answer your question directly. I'm sorry. I was getting, I'm getting DMs. But I'll to answer you directly. I saw an article, and I can see if I can pull it up again. But I did see an article that was showing some evidence to say that he's actually lying about that. That like he might have known about it previously. He's just saying, "Oh, I just found out about it, and I'm just covering it up." Right?
Yeah.
It's just that he is not going to win against Susan Collins. The people of Maine aren't going to vote for the guy with the Nazi tattoo. Sure. Oh, you know what's so crazy to me? I can't believe how influential American politics is. Another thing that I'm just kind of amazed by is how so Macabeth is not in the United States, far away from the United States. Okay, but for you to even say, oh, the people of Maine would not vote for someone like that, right? Implies that you know something about the way that a people in a state would operate or the way that they think. I'm assuming so. I'm not entirely sure though, but it's kind of crazy how even people like in the UK or outside of the United States would look up local elections and look up legislation happening at a local level in the United States. Wow.
The two pieces of which would be that aren't corroborated is like the former campaign manager had said that he kind of knew or knew before that he alluded to, and then there was the article that said he had referred to it as my Totenkopf at one point, which is that you must know what it is if you use that name. So
and when Jen Psaki asked him about it,
Trump put 50% tariffs on us, bro, wanting the Brazilian president to pardon the former president who tried to do an insurrection. I want the Democrats in power immediately, Lamau. Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. I mean, again, I find it really admirable, okay? Like, I really do find it really admirable that people outside the country care this much about American politics. Yeah. Just don't pretend that you care about your own country's politics, okay? Just don't pretend that part at the very least, okay? Because whenever some European person says, oh, I love politics, you're not talking about European politics. You're not talking about your own country's political divisions. You're talking about viewing American politics through the lenses of your European brain, okay? Which could either be the most genius thing or the most retarded thing ever I've ever heard of. So yeah, don't pretend. Don't pretend. Oh yeah, I'm into European politics, and then all you talk about is like American politics. Okay, Jesus.
His campaign manager is saying that he said that's inaccurate. He didn't like push back harshly, but I guess I'm curious, Prime. What are your thoughts on it after looking at all the evidence and reading all the articles? Do you think that he honestly didn't know what that was until just?
I like American politics because it makes me money. Sure. Lived in Maine for several months right after the Lewiston shootings when the dude shot himself a half mile from where I was living. Oh my God.
I know from that, the article seemed persuasive to me. And with what you just said, right? Like, hey, he has his imagery on his chest. You would think he would notice it like in a popular media. So no, I think he's not being totally honest about like when he learned about that. So.
But you still support him as the Democratic nominee, right? You want him to win. You support him still.
Yeah, because his policies, all in all, seem better. I think this is a massive mistake from him. I think when we see these PR nightmares, we see especially novice politicians, right, like handle them badly all the time. You see people in the field for like decades, like handle it very badly. So I think he's handling this,
under your notion.
One second. I would say that. In fact, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
under your version of events, someone knowingly lied in current day is knowingly lying and maintained a tattoo, a known Nazi tattoo, for some undefined period of time, and didn't cover it up in that interim, and then lied about it. And your response is, well, overall the policy, and I agree that if we're just doing a cost benefit, like, okay, that's a factor to consider, but isn't the most likely situation is that he liked the Nazi tattoo, correct, and didn't want to get rid of it?
Yeah, but
is that the most likely?
Bro, it's probably a dope ass tattoo. Like, Jesus Christ, come on. Hello, hater alert, hater alert, hater alert. Bro is just mad that he doesn't have a Nazi tattoo.
Scenario?
At the very least, he knew what it was, and he did a cost benefit analysis. And said, well, if it hurts some other people,
have you seen the tattoo? Yeah, of
course. It's a hateful symbol. That's not my problem, I guess. Is kind of what he said. Now, what if it was like a pro-Israel symbol that he had accidentally tattooed on his chest? Would you give him a pass on that too?
Of course I would. Why wouldn't I? Of course. Assuming it didn't line up, right? If he was an actual, a factual genocidal Zionist, if he was a Zionist,
what if he lied about? What if he lied about? But what if he lied about? He knew earlier that it was a pro-Israel, associated with pro-Israel. You'd still give him a pass?
Then the offense.
Is 20 years old. Bro, there are far-right divisions in the military all the time, and they get, like, far-right tattoos. It happens, okay? I'm sorry. But 20 years is a long-ass time, and he probably changed his mind, like, 50 trillion times by then.
There is that the politician lied to me, right? Which is what they do all the time. Certainly Obama did, right? Like, politicians lied. Certain Biden did, right? Like, politicians lied to their constituents. I don't like it, right? That's a red flag, like I was saying last week. It's not I'm excusing this.
Not in the U.S. military? Oh my God, give him a break. Okay, Jesus. Who cares?
Saying, hey, don't pay attention to this, walk away. No, I'm saying integrate this into your calculations for.
Sorry, I saw the word pirate and it automatically came to my ear. See, this is what happens when I have autism. Nazi tattoo. Who cares?
Whether you want to
why should we treat it as a swastika? I imagine that you wouldn't say that as a swastika.
Last thing. If more comes out,
the anti-Jew tattoo.
I'm not dismissing it at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, hey, integrate it within your calculations, right? And if more comes out, it adds to it, right? At some point, it reaches. It's when it's unacceptable. Now, like there's enough outrages that's unacceptable. You can't vote for them. I'm saying this outrage, it's an outrage, right? But for me, because he doesn't seem to be a Nazi, as far as I can tell, right? Then it's just a bad decision making on his part.
So can I jump in real quick? I just want to say, because the reason this isn't incongruent with what Prime was just saying is that Prime was saying, I won't vote for someone who is.
What if it was a little swastika? I literally would not change my mind. Even a single second, okay? Trump has a copy of Mein Kampf on his bedstand when they raided Mar-a-Lago. And he's the president of the United States right now.
Policy-wise, pro-segregation, not potentially a secret segregationist. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with the analysis of the tattoo thing. I'm just saying that
it's not a contradiction.
Are not hypocritical. Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a contradiction. I'm not saying that there's a contradiction yet. But I'm just trying to suss it out. So, given your view, Prime, which is that he knowingly kept it, at least for some undisclosed period of time.
W Prime take, but we all know he wouldn't sweep this hard for a pro-Israel candidate. Yeah, of course.
Why should, if it were a swastika, you treat it differently, right?
Yes, because I wouldn't believe that he didn't know what a swastika was.
Right. So given that, right, but under your lights, right, under your version of events, he knew that it was an.
Like, what if I had secret far-right beliefs? You know that I'm racist, you know that I'm sexist, you know that I am transphobic, you know, all of these things. What if I was one of these far-right femboys or far-right trans girls, okay? How do you, like, what if I'm one of these, let's just say hypothetically, okay? Would that change anything? Come on.
Nazi tattoo. So why would you treat it differently? Given that,
that's
so
different.
what the swastika adds.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this.
All the warning signs are there, okay? You just need to connect the dots.
I'll let you respond. What the swastika adds is no one can reasonably believe he wasn't aware that it was a Nazi tattoo, because the swastika is a known Nazi tattoo. But given that you think he knew at least some point that it was a Nazi tattoo, doesn't that equalize him?
No, it doesn't at all. Not at all, right? Because if he got the Nazi tattoo way back when, right? That means that almost certainly means he's pro-Nazi, right? That pretty much 99% means that he's actually pro-Nazi, even though he never said it, right? Like, there's no way to believe.
What does pro-Nazi even mean?
He didn't understand what that symbol was, and he put it on his body.
You mean just
right?
Nazi, right?
So I would say he's actually a secret Nazi. Toss him, right? But if he made a mistake in the past, right, and found out later, but simply didn't rectify that immediately, or
so this is what you're saying, right? So what I'm understanding is at the point of application of tattoo, that there's no reasonable doubt as to for the swastika, but there could be at the point of application for the tattoo he has. And now explaining why he didn't get rid of it is maybe easier to do than why he put it in the first place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
But what is what is the response about why you didn't get rid of it instantly?
Yeah, but once someone tells you, hey, that's a Nazi tattoo, and you're like, yes, it is, then you're accepting that you have a Nazi tattoo on you.
No, it's like, yes, or it's like, yes, it is. Giga Chad. Hello? Yeah, it's a Nazi tattoo. Now, are you going to vote for me based on policy or not? Or is it too uncomfortable for you to? If it's too uncomfortable, then don't vote for me, bitch.
Which could have happened years ago.
It's
so now he's accepting. Hey, I've got a Nazi tattoo on me. Oh well, I guess
I agree.
It is. I mean, I would be horrified if I had some sort of big.
I would agree. Me too. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
So is the explanation that he just didn't care that he had a Nazi tattoo, or that it wasn't top of his priority to get rid of it?
I have
like,
no
what
idea
is
the explanation is. I don't know the explanation. Like,
I guess the point I'm trying to make
from my understanding, he's keeping with the story that he only just.
Nazis are pretty gross. You don't want to trust them. Wow, Salty coming in with the most original take. Whoa, yeah, whoa, what? We all thought that Nazis are not gross until you said they were pretty gross, and now I changed my mind.
Out, right?
That's a lie. So you think it's a lie? So then what? So
yeah. But I don't know the actual explanation.
Well, if he's lying about it, wouldn't that imply that he doesn't have a good explanation? And if he doesn't have a good explanation,
probably.
like,
I agree. It's a bad thing. Hold on, guys. Again,
I agree that you said it's bad. I agree you said it's bad, but like,
can I get an L Nazis in the chat?
I think that you don't want to like. It's possible he liked having a Nazi tattoo on his body.
That's a possibility. Right? I think it's less likely than It's less likely that it is a reflective of his policies and his future actions and his beliefs.
Yeah, I guess Pisco. People I see in chat are being like, "Why are you defending Prime so much?" Well, we and him talked about this for 2 hours, and even though I don't agree with him at the end of that, I still think that Plattner should have either stepped down and be replaced by Progressive, or Janet Mills is a better option, because I think this is incredibly bad judgment. I do think he's.
No, what, dude? I'm just gonna say this right now, okay? I'm gonna just say this right now. Man, who gives a fuck? President of the United States is doing Bitcoin scams. The only reason you are anti-Platinum is just simply because you had the malediction of realizing this motherfucker, all right, is anti-Israel, okay? Pro-Palestine, anti-Israel. So I totally get it, okay?
At least lying. The idea is, no matter what the story is, whether he lied about it or not, or whatever, his policies for decades do not demonstrate that he's a secret Nazi. So I think the risk that Prime is making that he is one is far lower than him actually being sincere in his progressive policies. And while this might be bad judgment, in his calculus, these policies are more worth it than whether or not.
Did we see in the?
Why would we support Nazi Dem over not Nazi Dem, lol? Because I don't care about the primary. I'm talking about overall. Everyone making a huge deal out of the Nazi tattoo is silly. It's ridiculous. Like, I literally don't care, okay? Like, you're not... I would consider a history of legislation voting where it's a bunch of legislation that I completely disagree with to be far worse than someone who has... Yeah, like, I think that if you're going to worry about, like, oh, whether or not you should vote for one candidate over one another, it should be only based off of policy and only based off of campaign promises. I don't care about what the fuck you look like, okay?
I just want to say quickly, this hand waving of, like, it's an Nazi adjacent tattoo is no big deal. In my opinion, as
also, ain't your dink ass Canadian? Ain't your ass Canadian?
Jewish person, it kind of normalizes, like, Nazis in society. Like, well, yeah, they made guy by accident. What's the big deal? It's just a Nazi adjacent tattoo, you know? That's kind of my problem.
Well, wait, again, I'm not really fighting with you guys, but this is now I'm curious. Would electing a segregationist not normalize segregation?
Well, yes, IRI said he would.
Yeah, I don't think
IRI said that. No, but I think IRI bit the bullet to the extent that he answered the question, which was like he's going to support the Democrat. He's a strong inclination in that sort of direction. Is that he would support the Democrat over the Republican? I mean, he was just like he totally raked you over the coals. So I feel for you feeling bad about Jay Jones, and so I think the implication of that is IRI.
I think it is.
No, he's just observing some negative, that's kind of downplaying, what's it called? Euphemistically referring to as a Nazi.
Yeah, this is why I asked Prime if it was an Israel-related tattoo, if he would feel the same way. And to his credit, he's
What if Plattner wants to make lolly legal? If Plattner wanted to make lolly illegal, I think I would need to think about it.
Yes, I would. I would dismiss it as he doesn't hold those beliefs. He just happened to get it. And maybe he was kind of a shithead about not getting it covered up, right, Prime? I mean, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, yeah. And to be clear, even if it was like the start date or whatever it is, right? Like I would call it a red flag, right? Like this is something I'm going to keep in mind, right? And if there are other things that come out that are distasteful, that are outrageous or whatever, right? That might equal, right, within my calculation. Oh, I can't support this person anymore. Just right now, this isn't determinative of that for me.
Okay,
but hold on, let's add. Hold on.
Did anyone even know what the totem conf was before the shit show hit the news? Hell no.
Well, I just one question.
Do you even need to ask?
To everyone, right? Like, do we think that Plattner is a secret Nazi? That this is proof that he's a secret Nazi? Let's go around, make sure. So Pisco, you don't think so?
I don't...
You wouldn't vote for him if the tattoo was a Dutch flag? Yeah, that's indefensible. What are you, some kind of Dutch secret agent? Hell no.
I think that it shows that he's a secret Nazi. No.
Okay, IRI?
I don't, but I think it shows he maybe doesn't really care about what people think about Nazis, I guess.
I think that's fair. All right, Soypill?
Yeah, I mean, you know my position. I think he handled this better.
Democrats give a fuck about this because the Republicans are going to love running the messaging. Yeah, I totally get that. I actually I find that to be more of a defensive stance, a better defensive stance than the intrinsic part of him having a Nazi tattoo.
Very irresponsibly, and I don't really trust his judgment very much, yeah.
Hutch?
I don't...
Well, let's just be honest here, okay? Let's just be entirely honest, all right? The reason why we're making a big deal out of Plattner and why we hate Plattner is because he is pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, okay? So you should just dislike him because he's pro-Palestine, anti-Israel lefty. Who cares about the tattoo? You dislike him because he's pro-Palestine, right? So work your way there. You're beginning with the conclusion and you're working your way backwards on why you hate him. Bro, who gives a fuck?
No, but I think his judgment is horrible. And I don't think that this is a justifiable risk against a woman that has defended that seat 5 times.
On this seat?
Susan
Collins. No.
Oh,
Susan
Collins.
I thought you were talking about... No, sorry, excuse me. All right, fair enough. But like going back to our discussions previously, right? Like
exactly. People it's white boy summer. It's white boy winter, okay? It is white boy winter. White boy winter, all right? Y'all mad it's white boy winter, okay?
It's like, how can you complain about my attitude like towards Obama's phone call that would incentivize...
Bro, a little white boy gets a little bit of emotion, and y'all people crashing the fuck out. That's what I'm saying.
The Democratic push to the center, if you're willing to support literally any of the Democrats that do so in any direction, right? Like, what's their incentive to change if they get support no matter what they say or do, right? So let me clean that up, right? So like, what's the incentive of the Democratic Party to be better if no matter what they get support, right? Like, no matter what they... Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that you're going to hear us, like, we complain about Democrats, some of us more than others, I would say, but like we complain about Democrats and we target those criticisms. I think that we distinguish different criticisms, and I think that you're absolutely in the right to like criticize Democratic leadership. I do all the time. Where I think I felt weird about what you said related to the Obama call, more the Hochul comment that you made was, this is an example of Democratic leadership or...
This goes on German uniforms all the way in World War I. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, okay? What if this guy is just simply a World War I enthusiast? Have you ever thought about that? This guy is just so into World War I memorabilia, okay?
At least more centrist Democratic establishment Democrats.
Come on. Who's to say a white boy can't get any hobbies,
kind of showing an olive branch, and the way in which that was being received was negative. So I am totally good with you guys, with people criticizing Democrats. I think it needs to happen. I think some of the people who are like, the Democrats should be defined by nothing, and like that to me is wild. I think Soypill and I have the same opinion there. But when the Democrats seem to be coalition building,
it's like, if he's, listen, okay, if this guy is into, if my main squeeze, okay, Plattner, if Plattner, my main squeeze, my hand smells like hand. If Plattner, my main squeeze, was into the Holy Roman Empire, come on, who cares? Guys, who's to have a little bit of hobby? Come on.
With left-wing people and candidates who people are excited about, to have that met with contempt I think that
It's
is like, where's, or at least like kind of, it's a kind of haughty arrogance or snarkiness.
I think he was more joking.
Okay,
more joking, Prime. Can I give you that?
Yeah. No, yeah. Look, again, I think Hochul, I don't like Hochul. I don't particularly love this individual. But like, I want her to, work with Mamdani. I think it'll be a good thing rather than a bad thing. If she and if she is a good partner, right? Well, that will raise her, raise her my estimations, right? And my calculations. She will be a better candidate. She will prove herself to be a better or a democratic.
Plattner lost my vote when he covered the Nazi tattoo. Hey, hello.
Governor, right? Than otherwise, right? Than working against him. So yeah, like I don't know, guys. Like I'm trying to have fun here, but
I want to challenge you here, Prime. I don't even think Mamdani's a leftist. I think I've heard some criticism from people further left than me say this guy's just a cover for capitalism. He is not a true socialist. He's a democratic socialist at best. And his policies are nothing special. Public-private partnership at grocery stores, free buses. None of this stuff is leftism. So will you support this guy? I mean, I don't think he's even a leftist. So you're just supporting a capitalist Democrat establishment. What's so different between Mamdani and Joe Manchin?
I have not much.
Fuck Mamdani. That guy sucks. He's a stupid.
No. Make the comparison to Kamala. I mean, other than Israel, put Israel to the side.
And that's why people just never pay attention to any policies, right? Notice how this like Nazi story got blown up so much. But like nobody ever pays attention to any policies this guy is actually into. No one cares. Politics is a joke right now, okay? Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. It like this entire thing is such a clown show. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, okay? Because I'm telling you right now, no one actually cares, okay? No one actually cares. None of this matters, okay? People pretend they care about politics, but they only care about it because it has a Nazi tattoo, all right?
Other than the genocide.
But in all seriousness...
Like, why are we pretending anyone ever gave a fuck about this entire election until the Nazi tattoo?
Do you really disagree, Brian? Come on, you're a true leftist. No, how can you... This guy's not even a real leftist.
Please.
Okay. Excuse me. I think... that
who are you, IRI?
Window, it really
you catch up on these local elections
for understanding how politics works. A true socialist, right? The ones that those lefties would love, right? That person's firmly outside the socialist window, the Overton window, right? And would not get elected. But like this is our. Remember, the term socialism is still a dirty word in politics, right? Even to some people on this panel, I'm sure it's a very dirty word. And so like this is our chance to prove one that like you can be a quote unquote socialist, however you define that, right? And not undermine America, right? Two, that from that area of the leftist spectrum, right? You can have policies that don't like leave cities in ruins, right? And three, right, just to have a friendly, constantly smiling face, right, in front of the camera, right? That's not saying death to America or anything like that, right? Like this is a fantastic opportunity. Yes, there are going to be people, right, within any political coalition who are saying like you're not far enough, right? I certainly do that all the time. As a man, I don't necessarily vote for an individual, right, unless they fall below my standards, meaning supporting genocide. But other than that, right? Sorry, I want to bring it every time. But other than that, yeah, I think it's fine that this guy is farther left than I think most other candidates we had, at least in the modern era, right? And hopefully we can go farther in the future.
But you wouldn't vote for Janet Mills in Maine if she won the primary, correct?
No, I think I would. I don't, to be fair, I don't know enough about Janet Mills's candidacy, right? To have.
Wait, hold on. I forgot. Did Prime even vote for Kamala? He didn't vote for Kamala, right?
A solid answer for you, but as of now, right? I'm not going to dodge the question. As of now, yes, she's it's good to know. But no, lots of the corporate Democrats, in my area, I'm almost positive, takes AIPAC money, right? Like they all do. They fucking all do. But if they come out and support, if she's saying she's supportive of the genocide and she would have, continued funding, then maybe that changes things. But you can just take AIPAC money and just like not do much of anything. So it depends. It depends.
How'd you look like you had a thought? I could see the gears turning. No?
Well, my overall, I just feel like there's a lot of anger in the party right now, and I feel like going back to the Plattner thing. I feel like if this guy actually gets more popular as a result, because I saw one poll that showed him actually his popularity went up, but we haven't had any high quality polls in Maine. If you show me a poll tomorrow that he actually gets more popular, then I think we're in like deep shit, because I don't think it's just going to be the voters in Maine that are going to be throwing.
Well, the only reason he would get any popular is because you guys are trying to cover him negatively, right? The more you vote, listen, the more you try to cover this guy negatively, the more media press he's going to get, and the Trump effect will happen, okay? This is the Streisand effect in action, okay? The more you cover Trump, the more Trump gets to play the victim. Just like how the more you cover Plattner, the more Plattner gets to play the victim. So in the end, criticizing Plattner will just simply give him what he wants, okay? Because otherwise he would just be straight up a nobody, okay? I'm just saying. You vote third party because common support gens. Yeah, okay. All right, then like Prime Kai's opinion is just completely useless. Gotcha.
Their standards just completely out the drain just because they're so pissed at the establishment. So I feel like we're in a very, very precarious situation right now. I hope Plattner loses. I really do.
Can I ask you, Prime, a question? I know that we have limited time because we have to get into the Reverie. By the way, everyone should watch Prime on the
Dude, see, this is why I'm saying Hutch is racist against Nazis, dude. Discrimination. Hate to see
Reverie at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, links in the description, everyone. All of Prime's links.
And yeah, definitely Prime Kai on Twitch. I think it's Prime Kai on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I have a question for you. What's the story of tomorrow going to be? What's your prediction?
God, I hate making predictions. I'm no good at them. But it seems, from what I'm hearing, when I'm coming down to the grapevine, that like in terms of early voting, like today and like maybe yesterday or whatever, there was a big explosion of like younger individuals coming out. It sounds like it's a lock for Zoran, right? Especially considering like how the primary turned out. Unless, of course, it turns out there's like a submerged like liberal vote that just didn't bother showing up for the primary, and then like it got radicalized like since then. Like with all the
Cuomo Orthodox Jews that never answer polls are going to come out in a massive wave.
It's a possibility. I mean, I don't know, right? Like,
Trump endorsed him,
but I think it's going to be a
Republican son or Nazi daughter. I think I would rather take a Nazi daughter. I'm not gonna lie, bro. There ain't no. I would rather have an openly far right motherfucker than it is to have someone who preaches American values but is a closeted far right Nazi. Okay.
I think it's gonna be a significant victory.
Yeah.
And like where those numbers stand will help shape the narrative, right? Like if it's like a blowout, right? If it's to the point where both Cuomo's and Sliwa's vote share couldn't overcome them, right? Like that's the victory that I'm looking for. Oh my God, that's the victory I'm looking for. To say that like, well, it didn't matter. It didn't.
That's wild. No, that's right. Not wrong. Right. Far right. That is. You know what I mean?
He's squeaked in, right? This is a definitive statement from the New York public that this is the direction they want to go in. And that'll just be immensely important, I think, going forward with like how the Democratic Party interacts with Zoran and how like his ability to project
a mandate question. Whether he has a mandate, yeah. So you'll be looking very closely at the margin. You don't just care about a victory; you care how much and the extent to which he's able to leverage that for policy concessions from Albany and then from the rest of the Democratic.
You did a much better job stating that than I did. Thank you.
Prime, am I rude for saying I think you're going to cancel Zoran and within 6 months he's going to be canceled?
Leave him alone.
Well, because here's why. Here's why. Because he's going to have to compromise once he gets in there. He's going to have to work with the city, the legislative body. He's going to have to move to the center in order to get anything done. He's going to have to work with the state officials, and so I don't know if he's going to achieve as much as he would like to. I'd like to see him succeed, but I feel like he's going to, unfortunately, he's going to run into some problems. He seems like a shrewd guy, but he's going to have to, compromise.
Shrewd. Are you calling him Jewish?
I mean, why wouldn't you cancel him within 6 months?
Right. Like, I feel like this is the case. And I feel like this also was the case for Hutch, at least with his early arguments with me, right, during the stream, that like the person you're arguing against is someone on Twitter and not me, right? Like, I don't demand...
Well, but you are the embodiment of the person on Twitter, though. Like you are the Twitter person. Okay, you are Twitter shaped. Okay, you're the Twitter person. Okay.
No.
But let me explain. I don't think you support the Democratic Party. That's why I think you do not support the Democratic Party, right?
I'm not a Democrat, but like I support those who align. No, but that's not what you're saying. That's not what you just said, right? So that's a different statement. Okay. What you just talked about was like, hey, if this person doesn't deliver perfection.
Being extra cute today, my queen. No problem, peasant. I love you too.
Right? Well, then you're going to quote unquote cancel him, right? And that's like a thing that you'll hear on Twitter. That like.
There's a Twitter-shaped hole in the world that Prime Kai can fill. Yeah, he's putting his dick into it.
There was some level of compromise, right? And so we immediately abandoned this individual, right? Like.
Bro, I am on a roll today, okay? On God, okay? My commentary is on a roll today.
I understand like the mechanics of politics. I understand that he has a list of priorities, right? let's assume it'd be great if you get 40% of those priorities through, right, by the end of his first term. That'd be fucking fantastic, right? Like their failure is in his future, right? It doesn't mean that I will necessarily abandon him.
True
I'm going to judge his candidacy by his
why
actions.
Wait, let me. I just want to ask a question. I just want to ask, like, what are your thoughts on AOC and Bernie?
Yeah, you're tricking the fuck out of me, so you're doing great. Yeah, I'll make sure to be even more smug.
These days.
Okay, the more smug I am, the better.
AOC and Bernie, I think currently they're doing an excellent job, making the progressive position, right, like putting that out there. I think they're doing a great job.
Would you say you
like
generally support
leadership? In general, absolutely, I support them. However, I have criticisms. I absolutely have criticisms.
We went back and forth on AOC in our debate.
Yeah,
your friend Kai's. Mike from PA said,
"The worse I am, the more people like me."
Mamdani will lose unless he, does not compromise on Israel. He is not doing that. I think he's going to win tomorrow, and I get to rub it in Mike from PA's face, which will be really, really nice. But guys, we have 10 minutes left. Can we all come together? Can we all come together and say that?
Whoa. Pause. That sounds a little homo.
I'd love to.
Speaking of genocide.
No homo. Whoa. Okay, pause.
Speaking of genocide, guys. JD Vance is going after streamers right now, okay? Is this not awful? This is actually kind of fucking insane. That
Hassan.
The vice president. Yeah, Hassan Piker is being called out for Collargate by the vice president, the most online vice president we ever had. And I am
Destiny 2, right?
Yep.
So there's something happened where it was like there was a request made to prosecutors in Florida.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And that's horrible.
It was after the Charlie Kirk stuff, I think. It's like you got to compartmentalize, because on the one hand, I think Hassan lied about the shot collar, and on the other hand, it is fucking insane that the vice president is talking about streamers, and to Pisco's point, trying to influence like prosecution.
Do you know why he's doing that? Is because it works. Okay, you got to take away your understanding of this world. Okay, the world that you once knew is no more. Welcome to the new world. This little world that you call Earth. Okay. This little place, this embodiment, okay? It's no more, all right? You need to get adapted to the new world. Welcome to the new world.
Because he didn't like their speech. It's just a horrible moment that we find ourselves in.
Prime, did Hassan lie about the shot collar, in your opinion?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't follow any of the Twitch drama. I assure you.
I was just curious if you had a thought on it. That's all good.
I have no thoughts on what Hassan does. No.
I think he did lie, and I still will defend him against the vice president cracking down on his speech, because that is scary to me.
Well, what is JD Vance threatening him with?
I don't think JD Vance is specifically threatening him, but I think that this is in tandem with what these hearings coming out that got delayed, right, Hutch? I don't know if they're coming up soon, but the idea that we're asking the CEOs of these media companies and Steam and Discord to answer for what they're hosting, and kind of about this like federal oversight in a way that I'm uncomfortable with on what I want to be a little more of an open discourse platform.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to reschedule that hearing, but I guarantee you they're going to show like at least 3 Republicans are going to show like a sizzle reel of Hassan Piker's greatest hits from Twitch over the years. And it's
tried it in New York.
Yeah. So
Hutch sounds like he's excited. And honestly, who isn't, okay? Everyone wants to see Hassan fail. With that being said, obviously it's still net bad, right? As much as I hate Hassan, and as much as we all hate Hassan, is it not the case, my brothers? My brothers and sisters, okay? My meisters, all right? My fellow slaves, okay? Is it not the case that this can be used to justify Republicans' escalation of action to further suppress the Constitution using Hassan as a beacon of tyranny? The answer is yes. But the Republicans can do something extremely funny and deport him, okay?
I called that too, by the way. I was telling my chat, I'm telling you within 3 weeks, Mamdani is going to disavow Hassan. And I thought it was going to be because of the hearing, but then Cuomo did it during the debate. But
he disavowed him on the 9/11 comments, not on the collar game.
No, yeah, I didn't mean that, but yeah.
But no, hey, Prime, I know that we should probably give you some lag time to jump into.
No, I would just start it. It's fine.
Okay,
it's fine. Yeah.
Other questions I have for you. Do you care about the Democratic referendum in?
Just make sure we're all living in the same universe, and that your spite-based politics is not clouding your judgment.
In California,
I'm just saying.
Do you care about the outcome of the Virginia and New Jersey governor's races?
We do a little double checking now and then. Got to do it.
Give us a window into your amount of care regarding that. Like, are you like watching? I was like, oh my God, yes, the Democrats are winning in the redistricting fight in California, or yes, the Democrats are winning in Virginia. Are those thoughts that go through your mind?
Yes. I don't identify as a Democrat anymore. The Democratic Party has completely and utterly disappointed me too many times. However, like I understand, like I'm not, at least not currently, I haven't yet been convinced to be like a third party guy. I understand that the Democratic Party is currently the best vehicle to get my policy agenda through, right? We just have to take power away from people like IRI and Hutch, right? And that's the fight. And so within, I'm willing to engage in it.
Okay, you know what? I appreciate an honest king, okay? This is an honest king, and I appreciate that.
And until that happens, right, there is a range, right, but a range of Democratic candidates and priorities that I will certainly be supporting. And so, like, in terms of like the redistricting fight in California, absolutely, yeah, we got to take power. We need to take power. And so let's do that. Like through
we being who? What, you said you're not a Democrat, so who's we?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just using.
He's part of the coalition, Pisco. We can let him in.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a fair criticism, but like, it's just like I'm using a common speech pattern.
Got it.
To talk about.
So like, Democrats need to take power. Is that what I heard you? So are we substituting Democrats in for we?
We're substituting Democrats for the larger left coalition.
Okay, so the larger left coalition needs to take power, and Democrats are a part of that.
I mean, Democrats are the vehicle for that. I mean, the Democratic organization is a vehicle for that.
So I'm hearing the Democrats need to win.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why be surprised about that?
No, I find that interesting. That
you left out yes or no. Do the Democrats?
The Democrats,
the Democrats. Well, not the Democratic segregationist.
Another way of saying the Democrats need to win is the Democrats should win.
Are you accelerationist at all, Prime, in that you want to see more losses?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was just curious.
No. I mean, I think that idea tells people that they shouldn't necessarily vote for Trump, right? Because like people on the left, that we should vote for Trump because if we accelerate to fascism, we'll accelerate to the utopia afterwards. There just could be just fascism afterwards. No.
Fair enough. Is there anybody you're excited about? We kind of put it into your mouth that you're excited about Mamdani, but are you like genuinely excited for him, or is there any other candidates out there that you like?
I mean, I am generally excited for Mamdani. Okay.
But the only thing you're excited for is the mayoral race for New York. You're not excited about any other competition, any other thing. You're just completely and utterly enveloped in lefty Twitter. I'm not surprised. I understand that everyone in this world is dumber than I am, okay? It's a sad reality I have to deal with.
To be fair, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't followed all the races of this particular midterm. Like Mamdani has been more of my focus.
What about Tallarico? You like Tallarico in Texas?
I don't know who that person is. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
Wait, I have one more triggering question to ask you, Prime. One more triggering question. So you think that right, like Kamala Harris supported a genocide, and you're not comfortable supporting someone who supports genocide. Why are you comfortable supporting someone who supports a genocide?
Support someone who supports genocide. So
for example, why would you support AOC who supported someone who supported a genocide?
No, this is where I had my criticism, right? In terms of
there's no winners, but there sure is a lot of losers.
Members, right? Like AOC voted, or she voted president or something, right? Rather than voting against like sending weapons to Israel, right? Like
I know, but she supported Kamala. So why are you comfortable supporting someone who supports a genocide?
Yes or no?
You
understand my question? So I know she doesn't support the genocide.
I understand.
She supports someone.
I get your association. Yes, I get your association. I think it shows not that she is a Zionist, right? It shows bad judgment, right? And just because a person has shown bad judgment does not necessarily mean I'm going to toss them away.
Support someone who supports a genocide? Would you support someone who supports a genocide?
Okay, now I'm losing you. But no,
no. We're right where we want to be. We're right where we want to be. Bernie supported Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris
and Biden.
And Biden. Kamala, by your lights, Kamala Harris supported genocide, and you're comfortable supporting someone who supports genocide.
If their politics isn't supporting genocide.
but their politics involves supporting someone who supports a genocide.
Yeah, and I would say that
the worst part about Prime is that he's okay. Listen, all right. Let me explain myself. Okay, he's affected. Okay, his racial mixture is affected. Okay, that just sounds worse now. His racial mixture is affected by the rules and the rulings of this administration. Okay. There we go.
Is a mark against them.
So all it takes.
So the only thing you should worry about is not just the genocide.
All it takes is one chain in the just one piece of plausible deniability. Oh, I don't support the policy, but I support someone who supports the policy, and all of a sudden, genocide is not a dividing line for you.
Ooh,
genocide is a dividing line for me.
I guess Prime. Imagine someone more to the left of you saying, "How dare you support AOC because she supports a genocide supporter?" And like in the same way that you would get on people's case for Kamala, it seems like someone could make the exact same argument for AOC because she's also supporting Kamala, right? Like, where do you draw the line? How many degrees of separation before they're still supporting genocide, if not in big positions of power doing it, right?
I draw the line at actively sending money to sponsor the genocide.
But supporting someone who supports sending money to genocide, that's okay.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. No. Yeah. I'll draw that line and say that's okay. I like also like there are people in my life, right, who support someone who support AOC, right? Support someone who supports genocide, right? Like, yeah, there are people in my and will I break off contact with them? No. However, if they were instead, right, an active Zionist and supported the genocide directly, then yes, I wouldn't support. I told them out, right? I wouldn't support them. So like, yeah, there is a line, yes, and I think it's fair to say, well, maybe that's arbitrary. Fair enough, right? That's where I'm drawing it.
That's, right? That's
the standards I'm having. I'm saying we all can have standards, right? It's clear that our standards are quite different. My standards is, hey, don't directly support the genocide, right? To be clear.
Well, then Kamala didn't do that because Kamala didn't. She couldn't have changed the decision-making process there, and she didn't directly send funds there. She wasn't part of the congressional, group that did that.
But her promises, her campaign promises, were that she would continue Biden's.
Oh, got it. That's the directness.
Flops is anti-fan coded. Well, I've always said this, and I'm gonna say it again. I've always been more anti-fan coded than I am DGG coded. I've always been like that. It's just that I'm on Steven's side. An anti-fan coded person on Steven's side. What can I say?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prime, it's been 9 months since Trump took over. Would you argue that Kamala would have been any better in general and on Israel?
In general, yes. Okay. On Israel, possibly not. Let's see how this ceasefire, it's not a peace deal, but ceasefire plays out.
I'll backstab Steven eventually.
But right this second, and I have lots of criticisms of the deal. We can talk about it some other time. But right this second, we have a very tenuous ceasefire that Biden failed to answer your question. That Biden failed to deliver completely, right? That apparently was impossible for the U.S. president to actually throw their weight around to accomplish. But then Trump actually did throw his weight around and then did seem to accomplish it. So again, we have to see if it even holds.
There was a ceasefire when Biden left.
No, yeah, when Trump was coming in, right, under pushed by or accelerated by his criticism of Israel. I remember that time, right? I remember what was happening there, and Trump came in and said, "Oh, we're gonna end this. We're going."
Would you support someone who supports Verso? No.
Solve Israel-Gaza, right? Trump put on that political pressure, and Netanyahu responding to him.
Hope that
Biden,
answers your question.
Did fucking nothing. Nothing changed, as far as I can tell, under Biden. If you have other information, I'd love to see that. But as far as I can tell, nothing changed under the Biden State Department.
Well, I'm just saying that when Biden left office on January 20th, there was a ceasefire, an active ceasefire.
Yeah, you know that
you're giving Trump credit for getting a ceasefire 9 months later when we already had it in January.
Well,
Trump failed to get to phase 2 and failed to keep it going.
Okay, all right. So so here's your options. You can give Biden that ceasefire, right, and say that that fell apart in like 2 days. So Biden gave us a worthless deal. Okay, you can do that.
No, it fell apart after Trump took over.
Whatever, that deal fell apart. But or you can say that, like, and the obvious thing is that like foreign governments respond to the incoming president because they know that one's the ones in power. Like there's a lame duck, right? And there's no reason to like give any concessions to a lame duck, especially in a war that you're winning, right? There's no reason to give concessions to a lame duck. What you're responding to is a rhetoric of the person who's just about to get in the seat. Is that unreasonable that foreign powers would do that?
Respond to the new administration in different ways?
No, I'm saying that. Yeah, saying that, like,
not unreasonable.
Even
it's a criticism of Trump in that case.
1 second. No, I'm saying, Pisco, that a new government, a foreign government, like takes into account what the incoming regime is wants and needs, right? Because there's a lame duck in office, right? And so what it seems to me, looking at the situation, that they were responding to Trump. Trump was the one making statements saying that we're going to end this fight, like I'm done with it, right? Like end Israel Gaza, end the conflict, and that's what they were responding to, seemingly.
I don't doubt that, like that. I think Trump was read in, Steve Witkoff was read in, but there just is a ton of reporting that this mattered a lot to the Biden administration, and
I guess changed. But what did they do different? Like what was the change in the State Department? Like what actions were taken? And maybe,
I'm not sure.
Maybe
I can answer that.
I don't know. Okay, please do.
So the only reason that aid was even allowed into Gaza in the first place was because of the Biden administration. And so like the Israel,
the only reason was cut off is because of the Biden administration. Go ahead.
So
wait, why?
There was a
because the Biden administration allowed for it. They didn't put pressure. They allowed Israel.
Wait, hold on. There was a 2.5 month blockade of aid going into Gaza that happened on Trump's watch, not Biden's. Biden, the State Department, they went to Israel in the beginning of that war and they said, "What's your plan for humanitarian aid?" And Israel said, "We're not letting aid into Gaza. Are you kidding me?" And it was the Biden administration that pressured them to do that in the first place. There were brief pauses at times during. I don't know why you're laughing. What are you laughing?
I'm laughing at you because you know I'm laughing at you.
Laughing at?
Why?
I'm laughing at you, right?
Wait, what about what's funny?
Yeah,
sure. Don't worry. I'll tell you. Don't worry.
Okay.
So those brief pauses in aid, and then like what little aid that got in. Yes, that was because of the Biden administration's complacency and a willingness to let the Israelis do damn near everything they wanted them to do. Right. So yes, the Israelis stopped the trucks at points, right, and other times let them in, or they let in so little aid, right, that the Gazans were practically starving. That happened under the Biden administration. There were long lines of food aid, right, outside of Gaza where the food was rotting. That happened under Biden. And it was so bad. Do you remember the pier, right? Because Israel wasn't letting the aid, the solution from the Biden administration was like, oh, let's, instead of forcing our supposed ally to let in aid here, not to commit a war crime, instead we're going to build a makeshift pier, right? That's going to.
He's not answering the question. Oh, sorry, he's not addressing. I don't care about what Biden does. Okay, I don't care about what Biden does. I frankly do not care, okay? I don't care in any way about Biden anymore, okay? He is out of the conversation. And I don't know, you sound like a magatard because you're still so fixated on Biden. You know, what can I say?
Take us months to complete to get in a trickle of aid, right? And that pier immediately fell apart. The other option was to drop aid, like a tiny amount of aid from the air.
Like just talking about it, you know, moving forward, right? Is it true or is it not true that Trump is more destructive for Gaza than any Democratic nominee, period? This is a yes or no question, and I fully support Pisco doing his yes or no thing.
And like crush Gazans underneath, right? Those are all plans that happened under Biden instead of actually simply forcing Israel to let in all the necessary aid, right? And America under Biden,
Hunter Biden, bro, I would suck Hunter Biden's ex-drug addict penis if it means he'll get into office.
Collaborated to
do not test me.
The best aid organization,
I will do
right?
it.
The most accomplished aid organization in Gaza out of it, right?
That was the
Biden administration collaborated on doing that.
That was the longest pause, but that did not come close to the pause that happened when Trump was president for nearly 3 months. That was the only time, as far as I'm aware, that international groups declared a potential famine that was coming. That happened on Trump's watch.
They were talking about before then. Sorry, they were absolutely talking about famine before then. 100%.
No, we're talking about the official designation of famine that came from, I don't know if it was UN or if it's another group that did it. That never happened on Biden's watch. That happened on Trump's watch, though.
They were warning of famine for months and months before. I'm not sure when the first warning of famine was happening. But in any case, famine isn't a black and white, like we're in famine, we're not famine. There's literally a scale. I mean,
there is. It is. When
there isn't, because it shows me you don't know what you're talking about. There's a scale for famine.
Yes.
Right? There's a scale from, I believe it's from 1 to 5, if I remember correctly, for famine designation, and different parts of Gaza can be in famine and other parts not. Right. And so like there's at some point some sort of calculations where you declare the area, quote unquote, in famine, but that doesn't even mean that everyone in there can't get food. Right. It's actually a very complicated calculation there. And they were talking about how like areas of Gaza were going into famine before, like during the Biden administration.
Anybody can look this up from any of our audiences, and you can
do that.
You can look up if the famine conditions ever reached anywhere close to what happened on Trump's watch during Biden's.
Anywhere close, yeah. So,
but that was the whole purpose of the question, Prime, was would Biden or Kamala have been better? And I think you just kind of put in the words there. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as close. They would have been at least marginally better, if not more than that, depending on how much
Kamala
were to get to Netanyahu, right?
No, that's not what I said. I don't know how you got that. I thought it was very clear. I don't know if they would have gotten this ceasefire. I don't know. We have 2 ceasefires.
It's important. It's important to know why the ceasefire happened. So there's a couple things contributing to that. Number one, Israel lost a ton of international support in the last year, and then the other reason was they did a military strike in Qatar without telling Donald Trump, and they ended up like killing a bunch of innocent people. So that put a bunch of political pressure on them to come to the table and try to get a deal done. This wasn't
political pressure works.
No, but this wasn't the result of like the Trump administration in the background, like tirelessly working for a ceasefire. That's not what happened.
I'm sorry. Say the last part again. I didn't hear that last part.
This wasn't the ceasefire happening was not a result of like Donald Trump and his administration like tirelessly pushing for a ceasefire. The political conditions changed for a couple of reasons that put pressure on Netanyahu to like put a deal together.
My argument is that the U.S. president, it was always within their power, right? Even under Biden, that they could have cut off aid, they could have conditioned aid, and they would absolutely can't. They absolutely have the ability to do that. What are you talking about? Of course they can.
No. Oh my god! You know what this reminds me of? This kind of reminds me of when, like, that one MAGA person was like, "Oh yeah, my family lost my job, like, lost our jobs under Obama. Our family lost our jobs under Obama, and that's why we're against Obama." That's a fallacy. You assume that because you lost your jobs under one particular administration, you're automatically assuming that it's Obama's fault, right? Just like how under Biden, you think all this horrible shit happened under Biden, so you assume it's Biden's fault. And you assume something good happened during Trump's term, and you assume that Trump is the better person. You are acting like a normie. You're acting like a moderate. You're acting like a moderate.
It's the Congress. The Congress determines whether or not aid goes out. He can't unilaterally stop it. Donald Trump was impeached.
First of all, they can unilaterally send aid. And Biden was the force within the Democratic Party, right, that pushed for support of Israel during all this. Everyone.
Yeah, a ceasefire. Sure, yeah.
At the very start of this in 2023,
all the hostages are back, though.
Israel was going to bomb a bit. That's what they do, right? Destroy a bit of building.
But I'm just saying, okay, it was Biden that actually, it was under Biden's administration that all that shit was coming together, all right? It's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. And then Trump comes in and steals the credit.
Things, right? And then they would have gotten their get back and things would have gone to normal. Biden was in full support of this this escalation in the war, right? So Biden put political pressure on the Democratic Party to continue supporting Israel in their time of need.
That's a separate thing. I'm just saying the president cannot.
No, it's not a separate thing. That's literally the thing I'm talking about.
The president cannot unilaterally end aid to a country like that. If the Congress,
but he can.
If the Congress,
apparently the Supreme Court disagrees.
If the Congress,
apparently you don't understand politics now. Right.
If the Congress appropriates funds,
who was the Congress responding to? Who was the Democratic Party responding to?
Of course, I never.
The Democratic Party.
I never said that Biden did not support aid for Israel. I'm pushing back against the idea that he could have unilaterally stopped it. That's not how it works.
Oh, okay. Is that what you're saying? Oh, simply you're gonna let. Oh, okay, no. I can work with this. No, I can work with this. Right? Like I think that Biden, right, had a singular responsibility, being the president and the leader of the Democratic Party, right, to put pressure on Israel, right, and his party to create conditions that Israel would not be able to prosecute the war. At least not.
Prime is retarded. What? No. What? What? No, come on. Come on. Come on. Prime? Really?
American support, right? I think if you're making the argument that due to separation of powers, we would still need Congress involvement, true, right? But then it says
it doesn't work, Hutch. It doesn't work, Hutch, because Biden was ideologically committed to it. So I mean, it's not just the separation of powers.
True. You can't lead the horse to the water. The horse do not understand what the water is. The horse will in fact thirst to death, die of thirst. You cannot lead the retarded horse to the water.
In one particular part here.
No, I get it. But
people talk about like Biden's involvement in Israel, and I agree with you that he was way too friendly with Israel and didn't speak up enough and allowed for conditions to become horrible. I'm totally in agreement with you, but I feel like people just leave out altogether the role of the Republicans in Congress who also were pushing for this aid. I mean, Mike Johnson was the Speaker of the House, and he was.
There's plenty. No, fair enough. I'll give you this. No, hon. I'll alter my language. I'll do that. I'll say that there's lots of blame to go around. Fair enough. I think Biden gets lion's share of the blame because he's ideologically, as our friend Pisco, ideologically committed to the project, right? And he pushed his party to continue supporting this conflict, right? Which is how we got to this point in history. That this would have ended. We could have ended this far sooner, like within like November of 2023. If Biden had put on, he had done what everyone expected him to do. Honestly.
All right. Who is your leading 2028 candidate right now for the Democrats? I have to know. Who's your horse? As of now, you don't have to stick with it, but as of right now, if you had to vote in the 2028 election, who are you casting a vote for, Prime?
I don't. Myself. Myself. No, that's the only one I can trust, honestly. Really.
No, come on, answer it.
Wow. Come on, nobody?
No. I'm just like, I don't like prognosticating like this, but like, hold on. I'll answer the question. Sure, because there's no one better, as far as I know, AOC.
Let's go, Brian. Hey, I'll drink to that.
Reluctant
AOC.
But it can be enthusiastic. I think she has the potential to make an enthusiastic. But right now, it's a bit more reluctant. Damn. But I honestly have a lot of faith in her. Right? I'm being a little hard on her, but I do have faith that she has the political talent, the know-how to attract left and form a coalition with liberals like yourselves.
Okay. Well, on coalition building, we'll let you go on this, Prime. Tomorrow is voting day for a lot of people. California voters, you got to get out there, vote yes. Virginia voters got to go out there, down ballot Dems. Any other important elections that are definitely going to have some mandates on there, guys, that I'm not thinking of right now? I think Spanberger, yeah.
There's also control of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
Okay.
That's the big thing that's happening. Yeah, we want to keep control of that. Was it the Virginia election with the
Virginia Governor AG, and it's also the House of Delegates, I think, too. So it's a trifecta is on the board potentially for Democrats in the Commonwealth.
I'm going to be massively disappointed if it's not like a blue just blowout across the country. That's where I'm at.
You know what they say: don't vote once, vote twice.
Hutch, I would like to have. Yes. I think you and I we've like run into each other on these different panels. But we've had everyone else in our way. We'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with you.
Let's do it.
Time. Yeah.
Let's go, content. Oh my god. Slop. Oh, absolute cinema. More Prime Slop. Oh, I love this guy.
And so
you have a very pleasant laugh. No?
We can work out our differences, hopefully. Do a little coalition building between the two of us.
What kind of DMs did you get there?
Oh no.
What kind of DMs?
Busted. It's Ogre Boy, isn't it? It's Ogre Boy.
Is it Ogre Boy?
1, 2, 3. Is it Ogre Boy?
I didn't get no, there's no Ogre Boy in my DMs. I can show you.
All right, check your check like the messages for people you don't know. See if it's there.
There's no. There's a person. No, that was 12 hours ago. Someone named True Talent.
You were looking at some DMs before, and you looked very entertained.
Oh no. That was a no. I'll tell you.
Opposite research.
No.
It's just because most laughs are fake. My laughs are fake. Have you guys ever thought about the fact that my laughs are fake? What if I was faking my laugh the entire time? How would you feel? How would you feel?
I wanted me to ask you guys a question. That was Doobie. My main man Doobie.
Fake this
one of Hutch's biggest ops.
Damn it.
Who is this? I don't know.
I was just joking.
Oh yeah. It's a friend of mine, but yeah.
He's the frog guy with the crown, yeah?
Yeah, he's the frog.
Yeah.
Well, Prime, thank you so much for coming on. I think, guys, do you want to go for 10 more minutes, wrap up here? After
Yeah.
Guys, if you want to check out Prime, his links are in the description, and you have your show. What's it called? The Reverie.
The Reverence. Get it? Because no one has ever heard of Prime in recent times. That's the joke, by the way, okay? Is that Prime I'm sorry to say this, okay, but you're a loser, okay? You're a loser. L Prime.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so go check him out. It's Mondays right after our show. So if you're like, dang, I can't get enough of this, you go right. It's back to back. Sure.
I would prefer not to have more Prime outside of being challenged directly. By that, I mean him being mentally challenged.
So thanks so much
for coming on.
And, I didn't know we'd be drilling you that hard. I tried to
I love it.
And moderate, but that's how it, I think
you're
used to it.
No, I certainly, and I want more of Hutch. I would love, seriously, I hope we can have a one-on-one
crawling back for seconds. Let's
you want more
and, have a conversation, and not have anyone
Hutch?
like Pisco, like Savior.
Sorry.
We'll talk to you.
YouTube, don't kill me.
Well, that was fun. So I know our plan was to bring on more progressives. Do you think that'll happen every time?
This is
I hope I wasn't stepping
this is the true definition
I felt like I needed
of
to
paying.
not.
Every single time I go over Live and Learn drama, it's always like the most like you keep on thinking in your head that Live and Learn is like 100% done after this, right? Like every single time there's a Live and Learn episode, I always feel like this is the end. Like, this is it. This is the drama that's going to end it all, but somehow they just keep on going. Because they can fight pretty nastily sometimes. So yeah, I don't know.